BusyBox's expert information on finding a property to develop. What do I need to consider when choosing a location?
When you're choosing a location to develop, I think the most important thing is that you know it, because there can be little nuances about any location, and you really need to understand what those are. One street can differ dramatically from another street.
How do I compromise between size and location?
The compromise between size and location is really about what you want. If you're buying a home, then you know what you're prepared to compromise on. If you're buying a development, you just have to think about who the end user is. Ultimately, a family is going to be more interested in size, probably, whereas people who don't perhaps have children, and so it matters a bit less, then they don't want to be near the tube and bars and restaurants.
How do I add value to a property?
I think if it doesn't come with your gut, what you should do to a property to add value, it's quite a difficult thing to find out. However, adding value as a general rule comes when you add square footage. That's sort of basic premise, because it's actually bigger. But you've got to put it in the right place, of course, that's the thing, and you need to make sure that it's well balanced, the house.
How do I calculate potential profit on a property?
You always work out the figures starting with how much you can realistically sell it for in today's market. So if you start with how much you can sell it for today, and a realistic valuation, not optimistic, and then you work backwards and you say, right, well, it's going to cost me X amount to do, and I need to make a 20% profit, which means I can pay Y. And that's the figure that it makes sense, and that's the figure that you should pay for it. Unless, of course, it's your home, in which case, the head often takes over, the heart often takes over the head.
How can I tell if I will get planning permission?
There's no real way of knowing whether you're going to get planning permission or not until you've actually got it, which is incredibly frustrating, and one of those endless little systems in British society that baffle everyone. But you can go and see what the guidelines are, the local planning guidelines are at the local council. That's probably a good place to start, and you can ask for advice as to whether you're likely to get planning permission. If other properties in the street have done what you're planning on doing, there's more chance you're likely to get planning permission as well.
Can I start a project without planning permission?
It's very unwise to start a project without planning permission, because if you don't get it, you may well have to undo what you've done, so it can be a terrible waste of money. So I would always advise that you do get planning permission before you start.
What are your top tips for choosing a location?
If you're going to develop a property, you need to think about resale, and so the safest ones are not ones that are on a main road or backing onto a railway or under a flight path, but even those in themselves you can develop. You just need to make sure that the price is low.
www.busybox.com